Hello, everyone, and welcome to a very special Big Think Mailbag. We actually have an extra guest with us here to read your questions and perhaps even reply to them. Hello, Dr. Aggro.
Hello, Dan Video Games.
And as usual, we have Bob.
Oh, hey, guys.
From GigaBoots, me, Dan Video Games. We have KZ from KZExcellent.com.
I'm responsible.
And Mr. Feel from Mr. Feel's Wild Ride.
I'm irresponsible.
So let's get to it. Our first question is coming in from Rainbow Cat. Rainbow Cat says, "Dear great, intelligent, gracious, awesome boys obviously on the set." I don't know if Aggro could be calling in.
Oh, it's an acronym.
No? Oh, if you cut off the deer.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, God damn it. Almost did that.
For those of you who play tabletop games like Dungeons and Dragons, which character classes do you prefer? Or, for those who don't play Western RPGs, what character archetypes such as fighter, mage, rogue do you prefer? We'll go ahead and start this question with Dr. Aggro.
I mean, I feel like I'm in the moral right here when I say that the only clear choice is to pick the purest arcane caster class available to you and go as hard into that class or skill tree as you can, discounting any of the game's or society's warnings that it's not optimal or not the way the game is meant to be played or not a fun way to engage with your fellow players at the table. Just go full wizard as hard as you can and never look back.
All right, Bob, because of certain card games that have character templates such as Bob the Fighter, I'm obligated to ask, do you play a fighter?
I guess so. I don't really do Dungeons and Dragons much at all. Like, I think we joined a game once or something, but yeah, I think I played a fighter, and that's probably what I'd normally pick.
How about you, KZ?
I played a D&D campaign maybe like 5 or 6 years ago, and I think that's the only time I played myself through a campaign. It was like D&D 4th edition. I played a ranger in that. I enjoyed that. I liked hitting things and dealing a lot of damage and rolling a lot of dice.
That's cool. Feel, any thoughts? Any preferences?
Okay, so in actual tabletop games, I agree with Aggro. You need to play a wizard, and you need to ruin everything for everyone else. That's important.
Correct.
You need to do things like
that is what you
need.
say.
You need to tell. You need.
Whenever it's Saturday, you go, "I'll be back soon. I gotta go be a wizard."
When you tell the GM things like, yes, I'm strapping all these plastic explosives to the earth elemental and sending it into the room ahead of the party. I have the detonator in my hand. Or when you say something like, yes, I'm going to cast greater polymorph on all the air around the boss and turn it into lava.
Yeah. Well, that breaks
Now-
game balance. It's not your fault they didn't pick wizard.
That's true.
Now, I don't do this in Western RPG games because they feel fear and try to contain the wizard. And there's no point in playing a wizard that's contained.
Oh my God. Disagree.
So I just pick the fighter and hit things as hard as I possibly can.
I try to play a paladin whenever possible. Perhaps a dragonborn paladin named Rahab. There's a drawing of said character in the Rogue Legacy review, so feel free to go look that up.
I mean, Paladin is the character class that gives you the most opportunity to play the tallest blonde character with the longest reach, so I can understand where you're coming from.
Are you saying that's a thing I might do?
It's entirely possible that you might do that from time to time.
Maybe. Just possibly. I think you're scarred from Soul Calibur.
I mean,
What about
who among us isn't?
Oh, Kai Kisuke?
Yeah, what about Kai
Kisuke?
Kisuke?
That's different.
He's not that tall. His weapon isn't that long.
Well, now it would have to be Sin, because Sin has the staff that he hits you with from a full screen away.
How about it, Dad?
I have posted a picture of Rahab in the Big Think
Dan.
Mailbag channel. I implore everyone listening to this to go watch the Rogue Legacy review.
Dan, it looks so good.
It's beautiful. I made Toast draw it with her offhand. was like, Tosh, this needs to look really bad. And she's like, okay, how about I draw it with the incorrect hand? And I'm like, there we go. Now you're getting into my tier.
Now, if you had had her use the dominant hand to then draw the Chad version.
The Virgin Rahab versus, I need another dragon name. What's another dragon name? Versus the Chad Bahamut.
Gerald.
That would be really good. Maybe we should do that. Anyway, moving on to the next question. Big Hauler writes in, what's your favorite reference to a game we don't own in a video game? Like, what's your favorite reference that is a reference to a game that the game itself, the publisher doesn't have the rights to in a video game? For example, the Mario letter and Mirror of Fate, except, of course, not bad, is literally what they say here. Honestly, that was the first one I thought of. It's really difficult to think of one I enjoy because, man, The Cake is Alive fucking ruined this genre of reference for a decade.
You're so damaged.
I think I have a good one.
Sure, go ahead.
Shantae's dad being Karnov.
That is pretty good.
Karnov from what?
The game Karnov.
Huh. I don't even know. Is it?
Never heard of it.
It is an old NES game where you play a big fat Russian man, like a strong fat Russian man, who spits fire at people and can put up ladders anywhere and climb them.
I'm like, Bob has to know
game.
Karnov from something. He was in quite a few things, but originally he was from his own game.
Huh.
Yeah, he's from his own game. And when you go to the afterlife in Shantae and the Pirate's Curse, you meet what is implied to be the spirit of Shantae's dad, who is a silhouette, and the silhouette looks like Karnov. They play as close as they can to Karnov's theme music and not get sued. and he says his favorite things are shooting, punching, and using ladders, which are Karnov's three abilities.
I'm looking at this box right now. This is amazing.
Yeah, no, Karnov's a unit. His concept art, even better. I'm just gonna... Here you go.
It's a shame that in the NES game they took out the incredible backstory that Karnov was revived from hell to solve a problem on Earth, and by completing it, he is allowed into heaven.
But yeah, it was originally an arcade game, and then they made the NES version. And much, 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 much later, Bob, there was a Neo Geo game called Karnov's Revenge, which was a really bad fighting game.
Oh, I think I've heard of that.
Yeah,
strangely.
I was going to say GameSack covered that at some point, so you may have seen it on GameSack.
But yeah, that's really good. I totally did not. That went over my head completely when I got to that in Pirate's Curse.
I'm trying to think. I'm sure Indivisible had one that I thought was funny, but by and large, I don't like this style of joke.
Indivisible's whole kingdom being a reference to the Mario Brothers movie. That was pretty good.
They haven't confirmed
Yeah, it
that.
was.
I don't want to believe you're right. But God
what?
damn it.
Wait, what? Explain, because I didn't catch it.
We talked about
Were
it
you
during
not here for the spoiler cast?
No, Phil wasn't here for that. That was other Phil. Bob, would you like to explain to the viewers who didn't listen to that and modern Phil?
Right. Basically, the whole idea with the steampunk kingdom in Indivisible is that the king has been turned into slime, which is the plot of that movie.
Oh, yeah.
Reminder that I, in that podcast, raised the game a point because you revealed this to me.
Yeah, and then all of the Skullgirls ones are really good. Like Squiggly has some quotes when she does special moves that are just straight up quoting the Street Fighter movie.
You mean I beheld Satan as he fell from the sky?
Yes, which I know is a biblical reference, but it's very direct. Like, there's no way that...
He's just quoting fucking Bison, like, multiple times. So, of course, that,
Yeah.
Anyway.
Also, when Peacock shoots her gun, she says, "Garbage day."
Yeah, she does. And that fucked with me. So what I'm trying to say is Lab Zero does it well. Most people just make me want to die.
I really like the stuff that happens in Bayonetta, but it's all Sega, so they own those.
Here's the problem, though. These were supposed to be references to other games, and every single reference we referenced from Lab Zero is movies.
Yes. But I feel like
they are video game movies, except for Garbage Day. What was it? Silent Night 2, Deadly Night? Is that the full title?
Silent Night, Deadly Night 2, I think.
Okay, so the 2 goes at the end of all of it. Anyway, I'm willing to move on unless somebody else has something to add.
I mean,
I got one.
Sure.
So, I'm trying to find a good picture of it, but it's in Donkey Kong Country 2. When you beat that game, you have a video game heroes results screen, and it's a Hall of Fame thing where they have a bad like first, second, and third place screen. And this screenshot's incredibly small, but it has Mario, it's got Yoshi, it's got Link on it. But near the trash can, there's Earthworm Jim's gun and Sonic's shoes next to the trash can that says "No Hopers."
Yep.
Because clearly they're not cool enough like all of these other characters.
Yep.
Why you gotta be mean to Earthworm Jim? He was on Super Nintendo too.
Yeah,
but he was really
he's
bad.
also Earthworm Jim.
Yes.
Aggro, do you have one?
But yeah, that comes to mind.
I was thinking about a couple of the ones that they did in World of Warcraft because they just do that shit all the time. They've got the room and the content. But honestly, the one that sticks with me the most is, and I remember the moment, but I don't even remember if it's in Borderlands 1 or 2.
Oh.
Oh no! It's toxic, isn't
Oh
it?
yes, no, it's here we go. Because you do this whole quest line about like mutants in the sewers and like they're stealing pizza.
Oh God, this.
Yes, and you get down there and you get jumped by 4 weird green mutants one in a row, and like their nameplates pop up, and you're like, oh, this is a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles joke, and it is pitch perfect. 90s bad comic book, ultra violent. Isn't this reference funny? Nihilistic. And when you're done gunning down the last turtle and you get a shitty green pistol, you feel empty.
This was the opposite of what they had for.
It might have been the most perfect, metatextually succinct experience I have ever had in interactive media.
Remember that part in Assassin's Creed 2 where they go, "It's a me, Mario," because his name is Mario?
We're moving on. Kurozora says,
Bless you.
Thank you. Hello, Dan, Bob, Phil, KZ, and Aggro. To you all, what makes a great video game character? Which do you think is important from most to least when creating such characters? Visual design, writing, gameplay, feel, or musical theme? To be honest, this is also a roundabout way of asking who your all-time favorite video game characters are and what makes them so meaningful. Thank you for your time, and thank you for all the work you put in with the Big Think Dimensions and the spoiler casts, and the main reason behind this question, the Armchair Devs. Thank you for giving respect where it's due.
Iconic characters on that show.
Yes, like lightning.
Pierce.
I'll go ahead and start. I think not having your character be overly complex in their design is kind of important. I think there's a world of difference between the elegance of Mega Man's design in the original series and Mega Man 11 being a 3D execution of that in Mighty Number 9.
Don't talk about Beck.
Maybe
I'm
when
just thinking of that Final Fantasy Tactics kid with the giant pizza cutter sword.
It's real good.
There's something to be said about understanding the visual space in which you have your character and designing for that. So putting the world's tiniest like segment lines on the arms of a character you're going to see in 720p from a side profile with tons of motion blur, maybe not good. Also, it's a bad model, and oh boy.
Dan's just like, let me just talk about how bad Mighty Number 9 is.
No, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm talking about how good the Mega Man 11 design is. That's what I'm doing right now. Because if you look at the Mega Man 11 design, it's the exact opposite. Like every surface of that model is used to great effect. Like it's striking, and it's a really good execution of a 3D Mega Man. I would really like to see that sort of thing applied to other Mega Man series, because we had so many spin-offs. Like, it would be really great to see Mega Man Legends in this fidelity. But yeah, I think Mega Man, Sonic, those are really, really good character designs. If we're talking modern stuff, it gets a little bit more complicated, and I feel like I'll take too long going through it. I had really neat character designs some of the time, Bob.
What's that?
Astral Chain. So who else wants to talk about this question?
Well, I mean, making a great character it's one of those broadly philosophical problems. It's like, how do you do the most moral good? Well, I mean, I guess it kind of depends. I guess moving past visual design, when you're talking about writing, it's, you can get a bell curve of how effective your writing for a character is, but it's always going to depend on who's playing the game. Like, I've heard people take Horizon Zero Dawn. I've heard people out there hate most of the characters in that game, hate Aloy, and every time she talks. She was one of my favorite characters from last year, or the year before.
Yeah.
Even a while ago. I mean, hands down. I guess I remember watching a documentary on when they were designing Half-Life 2, one of the episodes. They were talking about Alex Vance. And they said when they were designing her AI, they said the most important thing we had to design her to do was to never get in the player character's way. Because it does not matter what else she does, if she's interesting to look at, if she's likable, if she's funny, if she's helpful. The first time she stands in your way getting through a door, they're going to hate her and wish she was dead.
That's true.
And I think that really, if you're talking about characters in video games, what really breaks it for the up and down over whether or not I like a character is if they show up on screen and I'm happy to see them.
Yeah.
Because there are great games that have characters come back and I just go, oh God, one of these sections.
See, and that's why, Snow is the best character from Final Fantasy 13. 1, wears a beanie. 2, voiced by Troy Baker.
So I
This
think
is all correct.
I think Edgar really pointed out, like, why Mary Jane is hated in the new Spider-Man game.
You guys want to hear a terrible secret?
Whenever she shows up, it's exciting because great gameplay is being attached to whatever's
but
doing
she's
next.
also written terribly.
What's your
Like a
secret,
2-1-2
Edgar? I need to
punch.
know.
Yeah, Agro, what's your dark secret?
You know those terrible 5-minute forced stealth segments in open world games everybody hates?
Yeah.
Oh, no! I gotta go.
Yeah, I would love for you to continue.
I find them to be a relaxing pace breaker.
Ugh.
I do too.
I'm not in Grand Theft Auto games, at least, right?
I haven't played those since Vice City because I'm not a chump.
Yeah.
Okay.
Why are we the same?
Fucking
Why?
Agro's here, and he's like, I drink sweet tea, but I don't let the sugar dilute into it. Here's what I do. I stick a sugar cube on top and chew it as I sip the tea.
Yeah, you got to arrange those ice cubes on the top and make you the sugar wafer. All right? Let it get moist enough to congeal on the bottom to hold the weight. And then you sip the tea through the sugar filter.
Okay, so it's like a nitro cold brew with the sweet cream frap on top. Got it. I didn't realize how gigabrained you were until you explained the mechanism. Clearly, you have fine taste.
We're so cultured today.
Edgar brings such culture to the podcast,
Yes, if there's one word for aggro, it's cultured.
I am the very model of a modern major gigabrain.
Feel, you pulled this question. I feel like you might have ideas about character design, which is what we're talking about.
The very first thing is they have to be either good to feel if it's like a game where you're controlling them and moving around, or if it's something like an RPG, they have to be effective. There is no character I hate more than the RPG character who is worthless.
Preach.
Yeah.
I just can think of Astral Chain's lead sibling character.
Oh, you mean Akira?
Akira. Yes.
Akira.
Goated.
Yes,
Gacked it.
Akira. The ones that always come to my mind immediately for like what you don't do is the entire first cast in the first section of Radiant Dawn, Fire Emblem Radiant Dawn, where as a joke, all of their stats are backwards.
What?
So your fighter has no strength or defense, but he has plenty of magic and speed.
That's quirky.
And that's every single character on that
my
team,
God.
and is part of why the first half of that game is so despised by people.
Jesus.
Yeah, that's just wrong.
It sounds like an insufferable Magic School anime I would drop in one episode.
It's a Dharma and Greg RPG, but everyone's Dharma and no one's Greg.
RPG.
Also, the person who is the protagonist of that section, one sucks. Two, she can see the future when it's plot convenient. So already we're off to a real fucking bad foot. And three, she can heal other people by taking their pain into herself.
So she just
And
dies
it's just like-
healing them?
No, she just takes damage from healing them.
Okay. Just is it 1-to-1 or is it reduced in the least? Is she just going to be like, oh my
I think
God,
it's
you're near
half.
death.
I think
Now
it's
I'm
half.
near death. I'm so good at
I think it's half.
Okay, that's reasonable.
But and also in terms of writing, I have to not despise them. Many things can make me despise them, like them telling bad jokes, being a general bitch, being voiced by Will Wheaton.
These are really specific.
I feel like that's kind of rare.
I think like the strongest character that hits all the things I like that has been in games recently is Kazuma Kiryu. Where it's like he looks cool, he feels good to control, he has a really good theme, and he's like a genuinely nice person who helps people, and you don't want to pull your teeth out every time they do anything.
I feel like when it comes to gameplay feel for a character, that's a weird thing because I generally blame the game for that, not necessarily the character. So like if you got to play as Ellie in The Last of Us 1 and for some reason she was just terrible to play, I would be more of what were they thinking and less I hate Ellie now. Like
I'm just thinking of all the times I've got, like, say it's a game where you have multiple characters to play, like Dynasty Warriors. Well, if the first character you pick plays badly, but there's 30 characters.
Dude,
so
who the fuck doesn't choose Zhao Yun or Dion Wei, like, right off the bat? Zhao Yun's on the fucking cover.
I know. You should just do that. But what if you don't? What if you're like, yeah, Diao Chan's going to be a good choice?
They don't even let you play as her at first.
Which one's the chick with the
I
rings?
have no idea who these are.
That's
Yeah, I don't know who these are.
Sun Shin something.
I would like to note, because this is the only time I'm going to get to talk about it, as a mainline Dynasty Warriors fan, every time they make a fantastic fucking Musou game for another IP, I get bitter. More and more bitter every fucking time. Persona 5 Scramble looks good. I hope you assholes appreciate it.
One day it will be our time again, Dan, with
No.
better CPUs.
No.
With better CPUs, they'll make a good Dynasty Warriors.
They'll use SPUs.
Finally.
I guess I gotta say something
Yeah.
because everyone answered it. But yeah, I care a lot about having like a really strong character design. And like Dan, I mean, if the game is bad, of course it's bad. So ideally, it's important for the character to control well.
Yeah.
Like if you screw that up, the whole game is bad.
Yeah. I mean, it's not often you get the whole package like V. Where it's good visual design, it's great writing, and good gameplay feel, and an even better musical theme. V's an absolute unit.
I agree on some of those.
No, everyone.
Very challenging to do well with.
I disagree.
God.
Depends on the person.
Bob, did you have any examples of
I mean, obviously, Dante's probably my favorite character.
Okay.
Devil May Cry 3 is great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, his writing's really good when he says Wahoo Pizza.
Yeah, no, I don't.
I mean, that's
don't
the
care.
rally cry of the generation.
Yes, it's true.
And
Where he says
DMC5,
Wahoo
he goes,
Pizza,
Wahoo, my
starts
back.
flossing, and then the boss loses their shit every single time.
Yes,
Yeah.
no, that's really good.
And then it is actually able to have genuine moments with his brother at the end, and I was like, that's actually good. It doesn't have to be. You don't have to take yourself serious all the time. Like, I feel like that's something that too many things fall into the trap of.
No, Bob, I need that from my fiction. How can I take fiction seriously if it doesn't take itself completely joylessly seriously?
Like, that's why Last of Us 1 was good. Like, it was able to change things up.
Yeah.
Heck,
Yeah,
what?
it wasn't, man, I know we got games that generation that were that level of way too try-hard serious, gritty.
Yeah, and then like Full Metal Alchemist probably is that popular because it balances that sort so well. Which,
Yeah, I would think that was why.
but yeah, I guess that's all I had.
Okay. You guys good with moving on?
I think characters should look cool. Yeah, that's it. Pretty much,
Yori.
you basically just fired every bullet I could have had. So
Yeah, that's how
thanks,
this goes a lot of the
I-
time. What's up,
I think
Agra?
I'd like to say one more thing here for all you burgeoning indie game writers out there.
Yes.
oh no,
A character is a part of a story that's there to not only advance the plot, but to have your players or readers or listeners enjoy observing or participating in their lives and experiences. Not a mouthpiece for your filtered out personal philosophies.
Please,
Robert A. Heinlein. He got better later on, but
please look forward to the Y2K playthrough with Dr. Aggro where he starts drinking himself to death hours in.
gonna have to strap me to this chair.
That's getting a huge patch soon. They're totally redoing the combat system. The time will never be more ripe. Also, I'm going to add, if at any point you look at what you wrote and think, Joss Whedon could have wrote this, you fucked up.
Okay, moving on. Root Beer Sticks writes in, Dear Giga Thinkers, for decades, video games have utilized the idea of a boss being impossible to defeat for story purposes. What comes out of it is that you're supposed to lose. Sometimes it is technically possible to win with enough patience, but the cutscene afterwards remains the same. RPGs love this concept. Has this ever bothered you? If so, specify instances where you thought the execution was sloppy. So real quick anecdote. I was literally having a conversation. I didn't know this question was pulled. I was literally having a conversation with Spaceman Spiff last night where he was like, I didn't understand forced losses in RPGs back in the day. So one of the Breath of Fire games kept bodying him and he's like, I don't understand. I keep failing.
Yeah, especially when you're a kid. It's the worst.
Yeah, no, it's weird.
I blew all of my elixirs on the first Beatrix battle in Final Fantasy IX because I had a rhythm going where everybody was reviving and healing everybody else, and I was surviving, and it was fine. I could get one attack in every 2 rounds until she finally got me with 3 climb hazards in a row, and then the next cutscene picked up, and I was real mad.
That was me last year when I played through Final Fantasy. I was like, man, this is really hard.
Although, okay, the worst one I've ever seen was at the end of Resistance 1.
Oh my god.
Why does Resistance always come up?
Are you going to talk about Resistance 2 boss fights? Or can we get that in?
Maybe
Oh,
in the
God.
next
I have
question.
never
Who knows?
heard of Resistance a single time from anybody ever until I got involved with GigaBoots.
Yeah, because you weren't a Sony fanboy during that gen.
Yeah, every Sony exclusive matters except for Lair. That's the creed.
So near the end of the game, there's this section where you're fighting a whole bunch of stalker robots and enemy fucking soldier dudes, and like it's supposed to get worse and worse and worse and more chaotic, and then you're gonna die, and then the last cutscene happens.
Yeah.
I found a corner of a bunker where the ambient explosions weren't killing me. They'd hurt me, but I'd regain a little life and they couldn't kill me.
Someone said this to Ted Price.
So I'd run out and grab a couple rockets and nail another stalker, and I'm like 6 stalkers deep. When I turn around to my roommate and go, I don't think I'm supposed to win this. This is like 25 minutes later. And I'm walking out the door and I just like Jesus out my arms and put the controller down, push forward with my toe and walk into oblivion.
My God.
I feel like I won that game.
It always stuck with me that you can't defeat Vile at the beginning of X, and then right after that, Zero's like, don't worry, you're strong. And I'm like, if I'm so strong, why was I just forced to lose?
Yeah, I feel like I don't like this basically ever.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think it can be Kino and cool sometimes, like the end of Crisis Core.
Yeah.
But it's typically really bad. Like, I don't even like it in Devil May Cry 5.
I mean, it's funny because in Devil May Cry 5, you can win.
You can, but...
Then it's just like, oh, we're going to skip a bit?
Yes, it's just like, I guess this is where the game ends now. Which is the ideal way to do it. Like, if you have one of these fights where you can win, just make a different ending. Like, Chrono Trigger does that.
It's basically the Far Cry 4 thing.
Yes.
But you had to win to do it. Which I like. I like that conceptually. Like, if I could win at the beginning of Mega Man X and somehow prevent the rest of the game.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that wouldn't prevent the rest of the game. Just you wouldn't have to fight Vile later because he was owned.
I said somehow. I don't know.
No, it just cuts to Winter Soldier and Captain America beating the shit out of Iron Man, but it's X and Zero wailing on Sigma.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, if you kill Vile at the beginning, he can't kill Zero later, so then Sigma just gets owned by Zero.
That would be really good.
It would. Also, it's bullshit that Vile's armor is the strongest thing in that game. Because his armor is why he can kill Zero.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty weird that his ride gear is just way better than any other that exists.
I can think of a good example and a bad example of unwinnable fights.
There's not
like
a good idea,
a bad
idea.
example. Yeah, good idea, bad idea. Bad idea would be in Xenoblade Chronicles 2, they have multiple fights that are just an entire boss fight that you clear, and then they show a cutscene of you getting your ass kicked.
That is the worst one, when I'm fucking spanking the boss's ass, and then the cutscene happens, and my guy's like, oh, I'm so weak. This fight was so tough. I'm like, no, bitch, I was beating his teeth in.
Right? Like, that can be done correctly.
I have not played that,
But
I have not played that since launch. But I think that in the first, 5 chapters, there's at least maybe 4 or 5 fights that end with, oh no, I'm losing.
God, I only played an hour of that game when I hit one of those.
Yeah.
When I hit one in chapter 3, I'm like, really? Even this guy? Even this guy's too much, I guess.
You're just flossing on the boss and they're dying, and then you're like, I flossed myself into tuberculosis. It's like, where did this come from? What?
What? A good example of an unwinnable fight is in Final Fantasy XIV. There's fights against the main antagonist of the previous expansion, Stormblood. You fight this dude named Xenos, and they decided, all right, you're not going to be able to defeat him. You don't have to clear his whole health bar, and the whole goal of that is it's unwinnable, but you can still lose, and it's wrong. Because they want you to hit a certain area of his health bar.
Mm-hmm.
So it still becomes a challenge that you have to overcome, but they can still convey later that you didn't win, where, in this example, they want you to get 30% of his health removed. And it's hard, because he's unleashing all of these attacks, he's charging up, he's doing all of this stuff. So they can still convey that this is too strong for you to handle. It can be a full-on boss fight, but still show that it's something that you're not ready for yet. And they do a couple of those fights. So I feel like that's a good way that you could actually handle that without just going, all right, you lost, it moves on, or you won, but you didn't.
Yeah, I think I got out everything I want about this question. Anyone else?
I feel like I have another one that really upset me a few years back, but I can't remember it. So you know what? We can move on. I'm fine.
It's okay, Bob. In like 2 questions, when you remember, you can just
whoops.
shout out.
We let the feel.
Yeah, the only one I said was that part that was tied into KZ's.
Yeah, that's why I said. That's why I opened the floor.
I think this is usually done well. As here's what you don't do. One, don't make it something that I could reasonably clear if I wasn't just barred from doing so. Like, that's always bad, especially in JRPGs where it's like, this guy isn't really stronger than a normal boss. If you didn't make his health infinite, I'd be able to win.
Yeah, you go
doing that's
you
why
go
I
into the fight,
that's why I
do
like
one
stuff like
summon,
the
and then it plays the cutscene where you're dying.
Like, I've got him stun locked and he can't hurt me anymore. How is he winning?
Yeah, he should be invincible to hits. Like, you should see zeros hit when you hit him, and you should take 999 every time.
He should probably say some shit in a weird voice filter that is clearly Virgil too.
or just make them really hard. Like, also, don't do the thing where you have to win the fight and then you get the cutscene of being owned. That is the fucking worst. I just give them a big move that they just drop field clearers on me repeatedly. That's better than you won, but here's the cutscene of you getting owned.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, if you're going to lose after you win, have them, like, pop a second form in the cutscene or do a desperation move or
Something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't be Kakarot.
Beatrix in 9 is fine, where she does the big move that hits everybody and you're just fucking wrecked.
Yeah.
Just don't make it. You could win, except we said you can't.
Except this FMV's burned onto this disc.
One I like is Star Ocean 2, when Claude has to fight Diaz, and Diaz is just a super badass, and it's just a normal fight, but you can't fucking beat him. He's sicko mode. But that's all I got.
Okay.
So, Bob, have you come up with the one you really hate?
Oh, Bob
Did
could
you figure
just
it out.
Bob could just like throw it out there if he remembers, because
Yeah.
I'm sure it's out there. But the next question from Ortsov Prince. Dear Kylum super cluster-sized brain gamers, what is your favorite silent protagonist? I understand that some people don't like silent protagonists, but that's because I feel like some games just don't use them well, because there's a laundry list of great silent protagonists. For example, I'm really fond of Final Fantasy XIV's main character along with God Eater's main character because they manage to remain active in the story and feel like a character. I'm going to be honest here. I've got nothing. So, anyone else?
Yeah.
Adol, Christian.
Yeah, that's
not technically... He's not technically silent because text pops up that says,
Yeah.
he explains what's happened so far.
Okay.
Right. He doesn't.
Like, this is going to sound weird. Are we going like pure silent protag, or are we going silent protag with self-insert dialogue boxes?
We're going silent.
Yeah.
Mario then.
Okay, because even FF14 has like dialogue boxes in it, and I was like, oh, you could also like think of the self-insert ones, but I'm fine doing.
So does God
fine doing
Eater, so I'm
something.
assuming they meant both.
So Mass Effect
okay.
counts?
Well, they
No, 'cause
actually
you
say
ta-
those.
you have tons of dialogue you don't pick. Yeah. it
So
actually says
if you
them.
hear a voice line, that's the distinguishing factor
Yeah.
here. Okay.
But yeah, Mario from Super Mario RPG. He only communicates through jumping.
Yeah, no. Mario from
and,
Mario
and
RPG.
somehow somehow turning into other characters somehow.
Yes.
Like that pose where he turns into the sword.
And then he also literally becomes Bowser and does the grumble.
Yes.
The amount of times Mario in that game spins a 360 4 times in a row, puts up his arm and drops down to communicate something is really good. Yeah, I think Bob's hit it. Anybody else?
I mean, honestly, one of the ones that always charmed me was the way everyone treated you in, like, the original Pokemon Red and Blue, where you walk into a room and people immediately start expositioning into your face and then just assuming you're agreeing with everything they're saying and shuffling you off to the next room. And it might be kind of cheap, but I do love how they played on that in the Stick of Truth, the South Park game.
God, I still haven't played that.
It was just this whole recurring bit of you. The new kid doesn't talk much, does he?
Yeah, no, that was hilarious.
Both those games and the sequel, the superhero one, are way better than I ever would have expected.
Right. It's almost like South Park had a really long history of bad games for several years straight, and then just stopped making games. No, it's okay. That kart racer's good. I know because someone paid money to watch us play it.
Even though we said it was bad, it's good now.
Well, that's how it works.
Yeah,
Raid Shadow Legends Game of the Year once they get you $14,000.
Correct.
I agree. Let's get it done. I think Astral Chainman's a pretty good silent.
No, he's not.
No, you don't.
Protagonist.
You know what?
He doesn't say anything, and he gets shit done.
Well, he does say something at the very end of the game, KZ.
That's true. So he doesn't count.
Bitch you got fine. I will take I don't know, Isaac from Golden Sun, because his only way to convey information is happy face or sad face.
Yes, and that's hilarious.
Until the sequel where they decide, okay, well, now you're playing as Felix, and he won't speak now, but Isaac will speak now.
God.
Which is still the funniest shit. Where it's like, oh man, now he has hundreds of lines of dialogue.
It's funny, by this rule set of Astral Chainman doesn't count. In the original ending for, I believe it was Portal 2, that means Chell from Portal wouldn't count. Because in the original ending, she talks.
Weird.
She says one word. They were like, people didn't get it. And I'm like, then they weren't paying attention. You changed your ending for idiots. Because the whole bit, and I'm not sure if it was Portal 1 or Portal 2, but the whole bit is she's a fucking silent protagonist the entire game, and the whole room's tearing apart, and then they're like, all of the buttons have been ripped out of the room. The only way we can acknowledge that this is what you want to do. And, it's the AI for the system, not GLaDOS, but the other AI just being like, the only way you can actually do this is through voice command. And then she goes, yes.
Does she have a gamer headset on?
Presumably.
Oh my god. Just when this comes out, someone's gonna have to make the Chell yes edit and add everyone who is on this podcast.
Please do.
Yes, please.
We'll forget.
Oh,
We will forget.
Red from Transistor.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't play Transistor.
They stole her voice. She's literally
I
mute
didn't.
for that game.
Well, it's because she's a woman. It's good if they don't talk, according to the developers.
Please stop.
No, KZ, it was the internet 20s. It was a different time.
Oh no.
I'm gonna go with Adel and Link because they're like not only silent, because they're completely controlled by the player. They're in weird cryptids.
Mm-hmm.
Not true.
Like-
Link goes, yeah.
Like Adel just runs through a fucking tower and murders a god with his entirely normal sword, and then just stares at you.
And all of Liu's blue hair, like, oh wow, he's really cool.
Oh, wow. Look at this mute.
Like,
he's badass.
Just like, imagine being an NPC in Breath of the Wild. This fucking twink runs in naked, just in his underwear, rolls into all your pots, takes everything that's out of them, runs towards the giant castle radiating darkness, and 2 hours later it's gone.
That's just effective. Like, thanks, buddy.
We're just going to tell everyone the goddesses did that. Everybody agree? Okay.
Yeah, okay. That's a lot more reasonable to pass on to our children. By the way, I looked it up, and it was, in fact, Portal 2's ending.
Yeah, I knew once you said the other one.
The voice command is to deactivate Wheatley. So yeah, she literally says, yes, that's the ending of Portal 2.
That would have been so good.
Yeah, no, it was hilarious. I was literally upset when I was watching the post-mortem where he explained no one got it, and I'm like, ah! What the fuck do you mean? Anyway, does anyone have anything else?
I can't handle this. I watched that video. I can't handle that.
Casey's like, there's no way she just says yes. And the game ends.
Yes.
But yeah, you push the middle mouse button to say yes, pops up on screen. That's pretty good. Anyway, good thing Valve doesn't have any of the writers involved with that. Pyromancer Isaac has written in a question. Hello there, Kino crew, in the eldritch being possessing Dr. Aggro. Relatively new fan here. As I'm sure Mr. Field can tell you, Grandia 3 is a bad to mid game with an incredible combat system that kept me groaning at a space monster trying to kill love itself while launching it into the air with timed combos and magic. So
I never played Grandia 3.
That sounds amazing.
I played this.
I was like, I have no idea why Field's the one to go to on this based on my anyway.
I play bad JRPGs, I guess.
I'm gonna. So my question is, what is a bad to mid game that you've powered through to finish? I'm gonna say none of Avenging My Youth counts.
Does Astral Chain count?
Astral Chain. God damn it!
Bob, I didn't power through to finish that game. I powered through to finish that game and play 20 hours of combat rooms. That was beyond just finishing it.
Yes.
Yes.
But yeah, I played Grandia 3.
Yeah, what did you think?
He's probably right about the story, but I was just I really dug that it was more Grandia, so I wasn't upset.
I'm trying to think. I mean, the whole thing with Avenging My Youth is that my childhood is full of me just checking out on games that have a dip in enjoyability. Like, I wasn't committed to beating video games. Like, I didn't understand why I should be.
Fucking casual.
Yeah, no, it's true. I was a fucking casual and I cheated myself and the game. So yeah, I don't have that many stories about this. Like, I'm sure if I was a different type of person, I would have powered through that Mega Man RPG command mission. I probably would have powered through that.
Oh, command mission. I was like,
yeah.
what?
But no. Nope.
Yeah, I don't know why I didn't even consider doing that. Being a Mega Man fan and a person who played a lot of JRPGs at that time.
Yeah.
I didn't even give it the time of day.
I only know one person.
I 100%ed it.
Okay, so Phil, you may not want to have admitted that before I said this sentence in reverse order. It would have been more flattering. I only knew one person before Phil who beat that game, and that dude's in jail.
I was hoping it'd be
For
this
having
bad.
too good taste.
No comment.
Phil rubs his hands together.
So other people?
I mean, like, I finished, this one's for you, Phil. I finished Resistance 2 on a gas tank of pure bile.
Yeah,
I fucking hated that game.
that's the way to do it.
Did anyone?
Phil said something a couple of weeks ago going, why is every single piece of content I've ever been in with Dr. Aggro, Resistance 2 boss fights has to come up at some point in some form?
Because you come up against that kind of pernicious evil and it changes you.
There we go.
Did you? I know that the guys online didn't, but did Aggro or Dan have you finished the online Korean MMO part of Resistance 2?
The what?
No, we couldn't really beat it. I feel like
We played a lot of it.
we played okay, for humans out there instead of Sony fanboy cryptids. Let me explain.
Lair.
So Resistance 2 had co-op multiplayer on top of its competitive multiplayer. The best thing you can relate the co-op multiplayer to is a Korean style MMO shooter, because the health bars of bosses was straight up MMO RPG size, and you're playing as roles. So you have, like, you know, I don't remember the exact titles for the roles, but you had sort of like a fighter dude who can put up a shield around him and had a chain gun, and then the healer, and then other stuff. So these,
None of the other classes mattered because that shield was there to put in front of the medics, and the medics were immortal and they didn't need the shield.
it's true.
God, that mode was so bad.
It was so fun. It was broken as hell.
It was so fun. I'm going to go check real quick that if you can play that game in 2020 via some networking shenanigans. Because you can play Warhawk, Bob. I found this out recently.
That's cool.
Somebody made like a homebrew way to play Warhawk in 2020, which is funny as shit. I love the internet.
Okay, so Resistance 2 was really bad, and I just finished it on pure hate. But honestly, the most mid game that I just powered through, because I mean, I play fucking Ubisoft tower games. I'll mid all day. It's no problem for me. It's relaxing. Was Uncharted 3. That game was disappointing for me, and I played the last few hours of it in just a glum malaise.
Yeah, I checked out on that one halfway through the game because I was like, there's just something deeply unenjoyable about this.
Yeah, the formula was off. It wasn't as good anymore.
Yeah. Phil, you got any games?
Not counting Days Gone.
That was a work expense.
I used to have a brain disease that rendered me unable to ever drop a game no matter how bad it was. I've gotten over this since then, but I have finished some garbage. I'm needing to pull up because I blocked a lot of them out of my brain. I'm gonna need to pull up a list of old PS1 RPGs and list some of the fucking nightmares I have pushed myself through.
Jesus Christ.
You know, we bring up Resistance 2 a lot. I feel like we don't bring up its box art enough, so I'm going to post a picture.
Oh no. Oh my god.
Yeah.
That isn't real. That's a meme on fucking last gen
Casey,
box
what you're
art.
looking at is literally everything that was wrong with 2.
It's true.
Okay. That just
became
looks like
that.
everything that was wrong with last gen.
Yes.
Shaved head man because we don't want to animate them with hair.
That is what happened to
bad
Resistance 2.
tan color filter.
Yeah.
Big gun. Dumb alien shit. Modern day, I guess.
Yeah, they
it's
stripped
true.
you down to 2 weapons. They gave you a sprint button. It was just fucking...
It had an identity, and the people in charge kept saying, hey, we need to make this more like other marketable shooters.
Like, I never thought I'd say, yeah, this video game series I liked just sold the fuck out.
But it was so bad that Ted Price apologized, so I feel fucking vindicated.
Yeah.
Oh, right. That's a really bad game I powered through. DMC, the DMC.
But Bob, I have read publications from several serious reviewers, and they say that game is brilliant.
They sure do.
The part where they scream at you, this is Fox News, these are energy drinks, you are sheeple, is really brilliant.
Yeah.
I really love the part where Virgil jumps off a building and does a 360 no scope on a lady's womb.
No one tell me if he's telling the truth.
Okay.
All right,
It's only
sure.
partially true.
Bob.
Don't worry, Aggro. You'll have to find out when Dan and Bob need to do death streams to pay for new consoles.
Oh, no.
I found out my headphone amp makes a slight buzzing in the speaker when I hook it up to the computer. I gotta buy this $2,000 DAC.
The ghost dog that tells me how to organize my workflow says that I need new equipment.
Jesus.
It wears a fucking safety cone.
So, I remembered a couple.
Okay, great.
Good.
Radiata Stories, which I beat twice.
What?
I loved that game back in the day. I have no idea if it's good.
Why twice?
So bad I played it twice.
Cause it has a path split. It has a
Oh.
path split. You either have to side with the humans or the elves.
You know, Knack didn't need that nuance. Knack just let you be a racist.
Yeah, that game does not have that. It's funny you mention that because the humans are these unstoppable monsters of death, and all of the best party. If you side with the elves, your party is trash.
Now I need to play this game.
Because Radiata Stories is one of those games where they have like 150 playable characters and you have to do all this bullshit to recruit them.
Yeah.
All the ones exclusive that you can use on the elf path are terrible, and meanwhile on the human route, it's like, here's the leader of the Fighters Guild. She's this blonde lady that erases bosses when she gets anywhere near them.
Ooh.
Here's an edgy guy with 2 swords who can solo the final boss.
This game sounds amazing. What was wrong with it?
It's fucking awful. You can beat it in like 6 hours if you just shotgun the story.
I remember being real cool.
This game sounds amazing. What was wrong with it?
You're really bad at selling this.
The whole game is like, if you play the story, there's like 6 hours of content unless you're recruiting people, and then there's like 20.
But yeah, it was all just about running around recruiting people. I need to play it again. I can't really speak from anything recent because I played it on release.
Another one is Shadow Hearts from the New World, which is the 3rd Shadow Hearts game. Shadow Hearts 2 Covenant is fantastic. It's one of my favorite PS2 games. This 3rd one, it's like they decided to make it real goofy and take out all the cool stuff, and the main character is Casper from the live action movie, and his dad brought him back to life in his basement with like the engine full of tubes of like
that's kind of cool,
obscure fluid, and the whole plot is that he used the hope fluid for him and the evil fluid for his older sister.
Why did you make the evil fluid?
Right?
And then his older sister hangs out with a terrible looking copy of Iori.
Whoever designed that was a genius.
Not this character. This dude looks like shit, but he's super obviously Iori. I'm gonna show a picture just in the mailbag chat.
Sounds good.
Oh,
I mean, that sounds like an
like
upstanding gentleman.
Wow, it's like Kingdom Hearts Iori.
I think his name is Killer because he's a serial killer and he doesn't say his real name at any point.
Oh, it's Kira.
It just doesn't have anything cool. Like, people were like, oh, one of your party members in Shadow Hearts 2 is a big flamboyant muscle man who will pick up anything pillar shaped and use it as a weapon because his weapon is a pillar, and how you got new weapons for him is like, he found a frozen tuna in the snow and that's his weapon now. And they were like, people like that, so every single character is going to be goofy like that now. So it's like, so your party is like the main character, an Indian girl who's kind of cool, a talking cat that does kung fu and constantly makes bad puns, and her side story is about giving coins to film a movie where she fights other cats that are movie parodies.
Oh my God. Okay, I think we might have like an Infinite Crisis problem where no matter how much you describe it to me to get me to understand it's bad, it just sounds amazing.
Yeah, I'm like, I love Taco. What are you talking about, man?
How does this keep happening?
It pushes into Borderlands-esque, where like you have an America-themed ninja who is stupid, and he might be Franklin Delano Roosevelt.
That's it.
Why are we playing this right now?
Again, you're really bad at this.
No, I promise this is bad. It's just the second game, but all the good parts are made bad.
No, it's the worst. I keep getting blowjobs. It's like, come on, man. You got to cut it off.
And then it gave me money.
Yeah. It's like, okay, Shadow Hearts 2 is like getting a bunch of blowjobs. Shadow Hearts 3 is getting like a bunch of blowjobs, but they keep using the teeth.
Oh, no.
So what you're saying is I need to take a lot of PCP first. Roger.
I got one. If it feels done.
You know.
Yeah,
Okay.
you can.
Okay.
I'm gonna see if I can think of any more while you, so you go ahead.
If you must.
This is specifically for mid games.
Okay.
Wonderful 101. I consider gameplay wise really mid.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it has amazing cutscenes though.
Yeah.
And amazing QTE failure states. Like every single QT in the game has a different way you can fail it for each button press, and it's always hilarious.
Yeah, it totally does.
That's what got me through that game. I would have dropped it, but every time a cutscene came up, I was like, this is still really good. I wish I had a better game to go with it.
Yeah. I can understand that.
Well, you'll get to give that one another chance soon. Don't worry, once you play 15 hours of it, it becomes good.
Okay, I probably played more than 15 hours. I did way too much of that, trying to make myself like it. But who knows? Maybe the new
I mean, the new version's going to be
I'm
coming
excited to
out.
try it again.
It's very exciting. Very exciting.
I had some issues with controls and stuff with the Wii U, and it was also on the Wii U, and then I stopped.
Wii U. Star
And
Ocean 3.
my leg hair.
Star Ocean 3, mid to bad?
Star Ocean 3 is like, it takes place in the brown dimension where everything's brown.
I think your TV was broken.
Yeah, I was like, I don't remember that game being brown.
That is inaccurate. We literally played that game earlier this year, and it is not brown.
There's a lot of brown. Also, every single thing in it that I liked from 2 is gone. All of the crafting has been made bad. I don't think the combat is any good.
It's about growing up.
I think the story possibly obliterated that entire franchise forever.
I think
What
Bob
are you talking about?
disagrees.
We got 4 and 5.
I think Bob disagrees, and I feel like our Armchair Devs episode perfectly crystallizes this difference in opinion.
Yes.
It was a very brave episode.
Yes.
I think Star Ocean 2 is like a 9, and I think this is like 5, so it was a real big shock when I bought that game on launch day.
I'm used to hearing the argument that the older Star Ocean is better because I've been friends with Bob for a very long time, and I like Star Ocean too. So I'm used to hearing this argument.
One that's newer, Disgaea D2, that is the sequel to Disgaea 1 specifically.
Well, Harl's got titties in this one.
That game is, I don't know why they made it.
That's so disappointing because it was like they have so much they could have done with a sequel to the original one. They could have delivered on various things as the first one started. Instead, they did nothing. It was just a bunch of side story episodes and then ended.
What a nightmare.
Correct me
Yeah.
if I'm wrong here, as someone who didn't play it because it looked like it was one of the few times I look at a game and I go, "This looks like this is going to be bad." When they wasn't this game not only does Laharl turn into a chick with titties, but he also is revealed to have a total secret sister that is revealed in this game.
One that the whole titties thing is like it's one chapter.
Yeah, because every chapter is its own. Like, imagine a Goofy episode in an anime. Just a one-off Goofy episode.
It's
That's
like a
what the
game
whole
filler.
is. Yeah,
It's like a filler game.
They
but
don't
yeah,
have enough material for a full narrative.
no,
They didn't
no
have any
overarching
material.
story.
Okay, Z. It doesn't have an overarching story. It's just wacky adventures.
Oh no!
Oops.
But yes, Laharl has a secret sister that is an angel for some reason. I forget the sequence of events that led this to happen. And the final boss is Etna's brother, her secret brother, who is so strong that things around him just die, and that's why he could never be near anybody.
I forgot.
Oh, shit.
God, feel this is poison. This is poison.
And he looks like if Void Dark was not Raw. Here's what he looks like.
Okay.
He looks like, what a sentence.
I forgot about this guy completely.
You know, because when I look at him,
He's
I
the
think,
final
man,
boss!
what a strong dude. Look at this strong dude.
You see, I like that you reminded me of the villain of Disgaea 5, which they say from the very beginning, the insidious Void Dark. He's so strong.
Seems really cool. For people who aren't Feel, were there any things you guys wanted to cover really quick before we go on to our last question?
Sure. Go ahead.
Okay. I was just gonna say real quick, like some games are mid all the way through. Some games are mid because they have high highs and low lows. And in that second category, firmly falls Metal Gear Solid 4.
God, tell me about it.
Yeah.
Is that the one where they kiss?
Dan, I'm going to have to double check that one with you. Is that the one where they kiss?
It potentially. It actually didn't happen on my playthrough.
I believe that's the one where you keep quoting the Cool Ridin' trailer.
I mean, I know every trailer for that game from front to back, except for the theatrical one, which, man, what a weird trailer. They literally ran it in theaters. Casey, you said you had one?
Yeah. So, I decided to just like look at games I played for my channel and went, oh, the bouncer would kind of count.
No. I've been
Okay, the
waiting for
bouncer
one of
will
you
not
fuckers
count.
to say it.
Well, I guess that one doesn't count. Next one on scrolling up. Next one on the list. Next one on the list, Octopath Traveler, which I wouldn't say is bad. It was mostly ended up being mid.
Yeah.
Mainly because their area design in that was mostly go to caves, and these caves have 2 diverging points in them, which are take a left for 4 seconds. There is a chest in front of you now. Now go back and go back through the linear path that takes 45 seconds to get to a save point to fight the boss.
It was a great demo for the Game Maker engine they came up with.
Yes. That being said, I do enjoy the combat system and the bosses quite a bit. Like, toward the end, they do some really fun stuff where it's always about hitting certain weaknesses. And after you hit their weakness enough, you break their shield. And toward the end, they just go, all right, this boss has 6 sets of weaknesses, and it's going to shuffle them in. Where it's like, no, this is a set where it has completely different resistances and stuff like that. They did some cool stuff there. I feel like some of the writing was okay. They just needed to focus a bit more. And the only other one I could think where I forced myself to finish was Far Cry New Dawn, which might be the most middling game I played in years, where they had almost no money, almost no ambition. And the only thing that saved me is I watched something so much more entertaining while playing it, the Devil May Cry anime. So I was playing that and watching that anime at the same time, going, "Man, this poker episode's really good while I'm taking down this base."
Man, it's like, this poker episode's great compared to this game I'm playing.
Right? You know things are bad when the
Jesus.
Devil May Cry anime's beating it out.
I would like people to go back and listen to that podcast to understand the context in which Casey viewed that.
And remember, I praised that anime quite a bit. Just remember what I was also playing at the time. The theme song is really good, though.
Yeah. I like when
there you go. Those are mine.
I like it when the Devil May Cry anime just started looking like it was Bob Epic team, because the animation got that rough.
Yes.
It was pretty good. It was pretty good. Last
They ran out of money for character creation too. Like the Sparta's rival is man with crew cut.
The fucking anime. Oh man. Okay, so we're moving on to our last question. Desi13 writes in, Dear BTD crew and Dr. Agro expansion pack, how long does it take you to come up with your Armchair Devs pitches? Especially Agro for his extremely long pitches. Any personal favorite pitches from other members of the crew?
My pitch is long?
Apparently, because you use
They're
big
about
words.
as long as your lunch break at work, I assume.
I think they're probably referring to the Pilot Wings one where you said 3 minutes of things in 30 seconds.
Oh yeah, the opening 30. I've got to use all that real estate.
Oh yeah.
If you have space, you need to use the space.
Let me tell you, it was really fucking weird when I was editing Final Fantasy 13-4 for Armchair Devs. I finished 3 whole seconds early. Phil and Bob finish 6 seconds early or 7, and it's just weird because we've never all stopped early. It's just like, here's our thing. Now we wait, and we will reveal the knives in a second. For me, for the episodes I've done, And some episodes I actually did prelim stuff because we were unsure, like whether or not I was hosting or a
You've only
contestant.
been in technically 2, right?
Yeah, I think that's right.
It was Final Fantasy 13 and Tenchu.
Yes, that sounds right. I did do preliminary work on other episodes because stuff got shoved around.
Ninja Lube.
For me, I have spent upward of 3 hours, like somewhere around 4 to 6. I have incredibly terrible art skills, so the art takes forever. Like my artistry is literally the fucking worst, so it takes me forever. But a lot of it's spent just looking up lore stuff and watching videos, reading stuff, and trying to figure out what I want to tie it into. I mentioned this in the Armchair Devs Extra, but one of the things I was most frustrated by art shortcomings is that the original cover for Dissidia Final Fantasy 52 was supposed to have a basic template for a human being, copied and pasted 14 times on the cover, with me doing tiny doodles to make them vaguely look like Final Fantasy characters. So like, you give Snow a beanie. So it's the me picture sketched over, but that. And it took me so fucking long just to do one that I ran out of fucking time because of all the other shit I had going on. So I was just so fucking frustrated. But yeah, I would say for me between about 4 and 6 hours. I don't know. Bob, people really like your pitches, so I'm sure they're really curious.
I go basically as soon as we hear what the episode's going to be, I start thinking about it, which is usually like a week in advance, maybe some more.
Yeah, sometimes it's been rougher than that because it's been like, hey, we changed it and we're doing it 5 days from now.
Yes.
That happened like
Yeah,
once.
5 days is usually our death watch.
That was bad.
So I think about it excessively on my way to and from work.
Right.
And then any other time I get a break,
Mhm.
anytime we're not making content, I'm usually trying to think of things and look up extra videos to see if I remember things right. Because some of these are for franchises I haven't thought about in years. So I have to go back and kind of reassess things. Like with Star Ocean 3, I had to rewatch the ending, and with Final Fantasy 13, I had to do the same thing, rewatch the ending to every one of those games.
Yeah, for me,
You had to go on the wiki and look up every character.
on Final Fantasy 13, I had to look up every single ending, watch every single ending, read every plot synopsis, read every character bio and everything else, which is absurd because, like, in the episode, it comes off as Dan just wanted to make Dissidia.
Yeah, like I remembered vaguely Sid Rain's arc in that, so I had to go look up his boss fight, and I had to like Roche and
And then you came up with what you came up with.
I think it's very fitting, Casey.
What a prince.
It is great.
But yeah, it's a lot of that, and then it's at least like 3 hours drawing,
Yeah.
sometimes more. Like I remember the Star Ocean one was rough because I had to think up 2 character designs and draw them, and that was probably 5 hours, and then I had to work in the morning.
Yeah, no, the Armchair Dev stuff could be really hard on Bob. He spends a lot of time on it. And he works a full-time fucking
I was
job.
about to mention the Pokemon one, but that was a gamer premonition.
Yes, that was technically Gamer Premonition.
man.
That I was like, we're using this mechanic in every Armchair Devs now. We are not doing that in Gamer Premonition.
Man, I forgot that was that.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, in your fucking Rainbowa.
First episode weirdness.
I aggro.
Hmm.
How long do you spend on?
Well, I mean, I guess the answer is as long as I have. Like, I've had 2 weeks before. I've had 2 days before.
That's true.
Yeah,
Which one
Banjo-Kazooie.
was the 2 days?
Banjo-Kazooie.
Banjo-Kazooie got dropped, which is weird because that's the one where I made, like, that physical
Thing.
statue
Yeah,
for...
that's fucked
Yeah.
up. You tricked people into thinking you had a lot of time.
I did all
Created
that
your
shit
Castaway
that
prop.
morning. Oh my god! And I think it was panic because like I spend a couple of hours doing when I do the vector graphic stuff, and that's usually when I like because I'll type out the first draft of my 30-second pitch,
Mhm.
and then I'll start doing the vector graphic stuff, and that's always day of. The art is always the last thing I do, and I always do it last minute because, as some of you at home might be able to tell from the nature of my pitches, they can change wildly in content from the time I first have an idea to when he hits record. So, I'll start doing the art, and then I'll take a break from the art and drill the 30-second pitch, and then I'll do a little more of the vector graphic stuff, and then I'll drill the 30-second pitch over and over and over and over again until I've got it down.
See, that is a remarkably balanced and smart way to go about it. Whereas I sit there and I'm like, I have all these great ideas. All I have to do now is the art. How hard could that be?
Yeah, I also have to wait till the last day to do the art because I'm like, my whole idea might change because it's always in flux. Like there are 3 different ways the Final Fantasy one could have gone, I feel.
Yeah, you don't know where to put the emphasis, on the Thunderbolt or the Sleuth.
Right?
KZ, how long do you spend on yours? And we'll get to personal favorite pitches after everyone talks about their methodology or whatever.
It takes, on average, if I know the series or what we're doing, it's a little bit faster, so it ends up being maybe 3.5 or 4 hours. But in cases like Pilot Wings, where I have 0 experience, or Tenchu, where I have negative experience, I watch playthroughs of the game a little bit, maybe like YouTube reviewers to like get a grasp of what the fuck I'm looking at, and then reading up on stuff. Usually, I try to make a bullet pointed list of like 24 things for the game that I'm going to pitch, where it's like features. Some are more specific, some are more broad on what the game's going to be. And then based off that, I come up with the title and whatever the 30-second pitch thing is. And by that point, that's when I do whatever the art ends up being. One time I did the art first, and it didn't work out.
What time with that? I need to know.
Yeah, I'm curious.
That was Tenchu.
I was going to say, for me, that's every time, but I work with like, I just go, here, this is what I did. I'm sorry.
I'm locked in this cage now.
But
it was Tenchu, and then I went, wait, I just created Naruto props. Well, I guess I played my hand.
It's a form of divination, this automatic writing.
I think the one time where I was looking up a lot of reviews to figure it out as a contestant was Tenchu, because I actually had no clue what the critical reception of Tenchu was. Like, I've never cared. I've never looked it up. And I was like, yeah, I should go and look up the history of, like, how this was received in the West. The first one was received exceedingly well, and the second one was not.
Man, you guys do way more research than I do. Although I did look up Banjo-Tooie because I'd never played it and I didn't watch the stream. And I'm like, these fuckers just came off of every Banjo game. I'm going to look like an idiot. And I had all this Banjo-Tooie reference shit in my pitch that I forgot to put in my pitch.
No!
Like, I had this whole mechanic where Humba Wumba would, like, devour bosses and keep their essence in the backpack and, like, let you use their powers.
No! No! Why could it have been something innocent like Stony Banjo?
Yeah. Why could it just be like... Phil, let's talk about your methodology, how long it takes and where you start.
Okay, so I don't really sit down and think about this because I have a lot of there's a lot of work I do where my brain just has nothing to occupy it, so I percolate.
Yeah.
You laugh in the
or
car
when
over your title.
or when I'm in the gym or driving or whatever. So I don't really have like time I sit down and be like, I'm gonna crank this out. So here's my process though. I'm a sociopath, so the first thing that I always come up with is the most painful one.
God damn it.
And then I'm like, I always try. I'm like, I'm gonna give myself half the time until we do this. Like, if it's 2 weeks away, I'm gonna give myself a week to come up with something that isn't a knife.
It's like he's speaking directly into my soul.
if I can't come up with anything that isn't just caustic, I'm just gonna have to stab whoever's hosting it, like Silent Hill with iPhone head.
That was literally my Final Fantasy 16 pitch. I'm like, I can't think of anything more humane than this.
But then there's times where like, okay, I have something like Banjo-Kazooie. I had something, Pilot Wings, Star Wars. Those were all times where I had something, and then I just have a text document, and I'll be like, okay, this, then I'll just write stuff down, and I'll cultivate it over however long, and the art I always do within 2 hours of recording.
I'm now in this mode with Armchair Devs where if Phil tweets something along the lines of, I was delighted by my name for the game and I'm competing in the same episode, I have this existential dread that we're both coming in with the same thing because of Tenchu the Tenchu.
Uh-huh.
So when he said that about Final Fantasy 13-4, I'm like, is he also just multiplying the numbers like me? Is he also coming in with Final Fantasy 52?
I thought you were gonna say, fuck it, it's 52 now.
Oh no, yeah, I figured, like, I was worried.
If KZ hadn't been hosting, if he had been participating, I would have been anxious that he also made Final Fantasy 13-4, Final Fantasy 15-2.
That's fair.
But since he was hosting, I was safe. There hasn't been a case where I was too terrified that somebody would have the same idea as me.
It's fucked up because my idea before I said fuck it, let me host was, what if I just make Final Fantasy 10-3 that? And I was like, no, that sounds like I'll lose. Fuck it, I'll host it. I don't want to deal with this shit.
I don't want to play because I'm going to lose. Yeah, there's an art component. I'm always going to lose.
It was like, 1, I'm going to lose. 2, I got nothing.
Didn't you win Tenchu?
Did I win? I guess I did win Tenchu.
Yeah.
Because you were the least offensive of them.
Sometimes being earnest works.
There's nothing wrong with turning Tenchu into a Senran Kagura game.
There's morally a lot wrong with that.
There is, but
In fact, that can only make it a better series.
Oh, fuck you.
Oh my god.
Along these lines, I was actually interested to hear from you guys if you had an early version of a pitch that was just broadly different from what you went with that you remember.
There were multiple directions I wanted to take Final Fantasy 13. 13-4. Ultimately, I went with the Dissidia one because what struck me about the Final Fantasy 13 games, and I don't think I got this out in the main episode, or I didn't get this out in the main episode, and I don't think I did an Armchair Extra either, is every game likes to rewrite the prior game. They like most of the ending. They don't like all of the ending. So something about that really struck with me, and I was like, okay, what if we rewrote 13.3 where the universe has been effectively destroyed and then restarted, but it just restarted in a completely different way that is the lore of this game? Because when you go from 13.1 to 13.2, they're like, Lightning wasn't there, Sarah. She's been dead. And then you go from 13.2 to 13.3, they're like, the secret ending that you had to try extra hard to get isn't canon. There's something about that hit me really strong. So I ended up going with that because of that. But there was an original pitch where it was actually going to take place in the real world in France, and it was going to be a business simulator where Lightning was known for her paradigm shifts.
It would have been really good.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that was the original idea. Much like my Castlevania one was, you make a castle and you have to make it good for all the monsters to move in. I always want to do these weird genre shifts. But then as I went through every plot of every 13 game, I'm like, fuck, man. Bob, is there an older pitch?
I mean, with Final Fantasy 13, I was legitimately considering, what if Final Fantasy 13-2 got a real sequel?
So you would have retconned all of Lightning Returns?
Yes.
That might have been the most cutthroat, stone cold thing you could have done.
And then Lightning, she remade the world as her sitting in the timeless era for some reason.
Like, this isn't a bit. What if it was good?
One day we'll hit the Armchair Devs where someone's just that stone cold serious and bitter the whole way through.
I'm trying to think of other ones because I always have like some other completely different idea. I just have to drop and be like, these don't work together.
Yeah, it's just not quite complete.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I thought of the Redbox thing with Sid Reigns and I was like, okay, I have to do this. I can't, there's no turning back.
Failing video store tycoon.
Lightning fast VCR repair.
I have no context for that character, so I have to play this at some point just to have context for that bit.
It hardly has anything to do with his actual character arc. Honestly.
Really fucking
but it's
does
really
it.
good.
But it's really hilarious, yeah. KZ, do you have an older version of a pitch that changed like dramatically or question off?
So on our Castlevania 3D episode of Armchair Devs, I came up with a pitch that was games as a service, living world. You're in a castle. You're taking things out. You can dab sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And originally, mine was going to be a platinum style action game that redoes Castlevania 3, which I'm really glad I didn't do because it sounds way too close to Bob.
Yes.
Yeah, and Bob has put way too much thought into each thing.
Yeah. Instead, I came up with a better game. Games as a service.
Final Fantasy 13-4, the racing game.
Why not?
Phil, did you have any older versions?
Before I decided to make Final Fantasy 13-4 also be Final Fantasy 15-2, I was considering going for a real low-hanging fruit and having you not play as Lightning, but play as Botomu Boriyama.
God
And
damn
your
it.
goal was to
Yeah, that's
woo
what we all
Lightning.
expected you to do.
But then I was like, no, that's baby shit. Everybody, that won't hurt anyone.
I mean, yeah, to be fair, I feel like countless members of the fandom could have come up with that pitch on your behalf. So it's a good thing you didn't do it because they would have expected.
Then I remembered us watching Kingsglaive. I was like, oh, that could be something.
I'm on to something
It
here.
wasn't even. It wasn't even like I wanted to hurt people with Kingsglaive. It's like, man, Final Fantasy 15 needs to get another shot somehow.
It needs a win.
It needs a win. The win being when Nomura gets to make Versus 13.
I really need a win.
As for favorite pitches that other people did, I really like Feels Pilot Wings one. Like, I legitimately enjoyed that. I also liked Aggros. But, you know, there are problems.
Well, okay. So here's the thing. One, coward. Two, Pilot Wings was actually the one that I got the closest to being completely different.
Oh, really?
It was right up to the wire between that and in the end I decided that World War II had more mass market name recognition than Warhammer 40K lore. But I'm talking Warhammer 30K, like in the middle of the Horus Heresy.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to do Pilot Wings Final Flight of the Eisenstein.
Holy shit. Bob, do you have a favorite pitch from another contestant? Bob's like, I don't remember your shit. I don't fucking...
Look,
I'm here to win, not to listen to you peasants.
I mean, to be fair,
I
Bob has only hosted one.
right. Like I really. Wait, no, two.
Tenchu and Star Wars.
Yeah, and I didn't like any of those pitches except for Dance. I didn't like a single Star Wars pitch I got that day.
Okay, I was like, is he throwing 5 pitches in a fucking hole, or is he throwing... Because I wasn't sure if you were counting both episodes or just one.
Yeah, and then when I'm in an episode, I'm trying my best to keep my composure and remember what I need to say.
As it turns out, yeah.
Trying to remember.
We can jump to someone else
Yeah,
while
go
you
for
think. KZ, do you have a favorite from someone else?
It's fucked up that I'm struggling to remember the Tony Hawk one that Bob did. Besides that, it's Tony Hawk Decades and Kylo Ren is in it. And I remember really liking
It's
that.
Tony Hawk Decades, and you live throughout the decades with Tony Hawk and his best friend who ends up dead.
Oh, yeah. It's like the fucking Spike
Game of
Lee
the Year.
NBA 2K story mode. Okay, I do remember that. It did, in fact, get Game of the Year.
Facts.
Aggro Silent Hill pitch was also really good.
I will always be sorry for that, but I will never apologize.
You see, that's reasonable. Other one, feels Armchair Devs Kiwami pitch for a rhythm game.
I liked Katie's Tales of game that he pitched for Star Ocean. That seemed okay.
Seemed fitting. I don't
It's
know.
about growing up.
Tales of is eating Star Ocean's lunch, so
It's true.
it's fitting.
Mine was Tales of, but injecting as much Golden Sun puzzling into the game as possible.
I'm sorry,
that's-
Casey. I don't remember your Star Ocean pitch at all. And I hosted that episode.
Oh my God, Phil did host that episode.
Yeah, he
I
did.
forgot.
Phil
Yeah,
hosted that episode.
yeah,
All I
'cause we
remember is Bob's art and everybody dunking on Eric.
Yes.
That's not true. I didn't dunk on Eric once.
Look, I very subtly dunked on Eric.
Oh
It was
my
fine.
god! I'm looking at the video because I had the playlist up to remember our episodes, and I'm just looking at the background, and I put the Starship Enterprise.
You
And
did.
apparently a person with Yu-Gi-Oh hair. I don't know what happened in that episode anymore.
But yeah, Bob, did you? No?
I mean, I gave that KZ one and your Tenshu one. That one won the episode, so I don't need to restate it.
But that's the thing, though. Like, your favorite that another competitor did can be the one that won an episode.
right,
You know.
It's-
That makes sense, actually.
I think we all actually had pretty good Tony Hawk ones. I don't think any of us had just something that came in was disgusting.
Yeah, no, they were all three viable. That was actually.
That's before we established the bit.
Yes.
I'm okay
It
with
was
this being a
episode one.
nerdist show.
Like, at worst, Field just did the movie suit voice.
It'll be earnest if I have an idea.
Be earnest if I have an idea, Phil says, outing himself of having no idea.
I mean, honestly, no, that's when I'm the most afraid of Phil. Like, the entire Pilot Wings episode, I'm like, oh my god, that's so pure and beautiful. He's gonna kick our asses.
and that entire thing you came up with, Dr. Aggro for Final Fantasy. Stunning. Absolutely stunning.
Oh, yeah, no, that's true. That should be in my top.
My man's really dredging up Agni's philosophy in this shit.
Yeah.
That was an epiphany I had like a week after I started thinking, like, what the fuck am I going to do? Because, like it was before craziness was the norm. So I'm like, can I reinvent turn-based combat? How do I talk about that? Do I talk about world design? I don't even fuck. Oh. Oh, that's good.
I almost had a pitch that was Agni's philosophy, but I just didn't say it.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
you had a pitch that was 5Ds.
No, it wasn't.
Final Fantasy on motorcycles.
I was about to say, it was like Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds.
Yeah.
It was raw.
I really did like Aggro's pitch for Final Fantasy. Like, a lot. There's something really beautiful to using DLC as an actual commentary and weird, like literally having the way the DLC has to be grafted onto the original story as part of the story, like in a way, because of the huge shift in like the way the game's framed and how it reframes the story of the rest of it is really funny. I think that's great. If Kingdom Hearts 3 Remind was some nightmare like that, that would have been fantastic.
Kingdom Hearts repurchase.
$150 photo mode.
I do like, this is the last thing I'm going to bring up because we need to have this at some point. I really like when Casey makes fun of Feel's insanely expensive, what was it, $50 photo mode, and he's like, it's the best one in video games to date.
You can get right up in that armpit.
And I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, no, that's perfect. That's perfect. I love it. I love it.
Sometimes you gotta set him up for the slam dunk. Didn't expect it to be that strong though.
Yeah. Feel. What's your favorite pitch?
Bob Star Ocean pitch, because he won the moment he said the main character's a space cop and his love interest is this space pirate he's trying to capture.
Yes.
I'm like, fuck. Bob just shot KZ and Eric in the head.
I was like, what if I had Tenchi Muyo?
Yeah, I almost died at work when you did that.
He did like the James Bond backflip where he shoots two guns in different directions as he backflips.
I think
that's pretty
Eric's
cool.
pitch there was nice. He should come back and do another one.
But yeah, Eric will return to Armchair Devs someday. Please look forward to it.
Oh no.
Aggro, what's your favorite pitch from someone else?
As much props as I have to give to KZ's Kiwami pitch, because it was goddamn beautiful, a
Should've
miracle
assembled.
amidst a nightmare, I almost felt my brain drip out of my ear when Bob opened his mouth during the Banjo-Kazooie episode. Because I thought, what's he going to bring to a game series he dislikes? I'm fucking staring across the room at Dan, and we're both just slack-jawed and wide-eyed like, this crazy son of a bitch is doing it!
Yeah.
And then it was like, and then you drive into her feet.
Well,
You have to commit.
Succulent toes.
to be fair, that was a speedrun tactic.
Bob motherfucking yes ands like a champion.
Yes.
And I felt so bad for doing that to him.
Oh my god.
Look, you can't back down on a vision.
That's true. I feel like anyone who backs down on a vision during Armchair Devs is doing themselves and the audience a disservice.
The theme of Armchair Devs is bravery.
It's true.
It is.
Well, that's gonna do it for this episode
Bit we've ever had.
of the Big Think Mailbag. I'd like to thank you all for writing in such excellent questions. We'll take some more at some point in the future. We don't know. We don't schedule these things. Take it easy. This video was brought to you by the power of the legendary GigaBoots executive producers: Vincent Pover, Nicholas Cameron, E. Lee Broyles, Star Falcon, Spaceman Spiff, Danny Richardson, Dryzart, Red Blaze 27, and Texas Man joins Smash. Thank you for lending us your power, our executive producers. And also these guys. If you want to become powerful like our executive producers, then head on over to www.patreon.com/GigaBoots today.